Hello and welcome to the greatest Tamil science channel. I'm your host Vishakha, and we're continuing our conversation with Dr. C.K. Nandagopalan on the very interesting topic of the eyes. Hello, sir. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Vishaka.
So, in our last episode, we spoke about the anatomy of the eyes and the health of the eyes, how to keep the eyes healthy. One question, sir, that still lingers on the eyes before we step into something deeper about the eyes is a lot of people do not really know what it means for an eye transplant or to donate the eyes and what exactly gets donated. So, if you can throw some light on what is eye transplant.
Yeah, people donate their eye when they are alive, and then when they depart, the within stipulated few hours time, the eyeball will be removed from the donated person, dead body, and then it is taken for eye transplant. Many people think the whole eye will be transplanted. No, only the cornea. So they use a circular knife, cut the cornea, and make the corneal transplant to another person who's live. This is called keratoplasty. It's in short form. It's called PK. So they cut open. You have a lot of cornea connected diseases like keratoconus and discoloration of cornea and all that, where the light signals cannot go in. So they cut open the faulty cornea from the person, and the donated eye cornea is taken. Rest of the eyeball is waste. They will throw it off. So they place it there and put butterfly switches and fix it. This is what is eye transplant. Not the full eye. Full eye cannot be transplanted. Only the corneal transplant, which is called keratoplasty, is eye transplant. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, now we'd like to ask you more about the spiritual significance of the eye. So, there is so much conversation in our old literature, in our religious books, and I don't mean just one religion, every religion, whether you take the Gita, the Bible, the Quran, everywhere there's a huge reference and significance of the eyes. In our everyday lives also we talk about a bad eye or a good eye or casting eyes. There's so much reference all over in our everyday life and in our scriptures too. So what is the significance of eyes in our traditional Indian culture?
First of all, what I would like to say is one thing that how best one can understand the so-called spiritualism is a very controversial thing.
Right.
So today's spiritualism has become a saleable commodity. You pay money to go for discourse with some eminent personalities who even make the meditation saleable commodity. Okay? Meditation can never be a saleable commodity. The first thing. If it is going to be a saleable commodity, then there is no meditation there. The person who wants to make meditation a saleable commodity, that means he doesn't know what meditation is all about. This is mainly what one has to understand. The second thing, eye is one thing which is the king of the sensory organs, which has many hidden secrets behind it. Like, as a live human individual who's alive, he has a biocosmic energy around him that can be photographed now, many years now. There are special cameras which can photograph your aura. By taking that photograph and watching it, you can see the aura. Like how Earth has got an atmosphere for many kilometers from the Earth, which blocks the atmosphere of the planet Earth, blocks the radiation, atomic radiation coming from the sun into us. It allows only the light signals with protons and neutrinos and whatnot. The real gamma rays and other things, injurious ones, are filtered beyond the ionosphere.
Right, yeah.
So the aura of your body filters many things from the nature. It comes under the wave theory. So you have to understand that each and every individual human cells manufacture components required to themselves on their own base, not based on the food and nutrition at all, based on the cosmic wave as a raw material. This is what has been very clearly understood by the ancient science. Now we come to the eye.
Right.
Eye is an organ which can emit a lot of waves.
Right.
Like for example, we have discussed this in emotions. Like you can look at a person's eye and make out whether he is quiet, calm, happy,
Right.
angry, whatever, depressed. The person who's in anxiety, sorrow, grief, whatever.
Right.
So the freshness of a person will be reflected in the eye. Okay. So as long as you are awake, from the morning till the time you get up and the time you go to sleep in the night, eye is constantly functioning.
Right. Yeah.
So every 1/100th of a second, the human body and the brain and the visual system by itself has to spend a lot of energy to keep your apparatus on. Your apparatus is the eye connected vision, the retinal work, the conversion of light signals to electrical pulse, and the travel of these electrical pulse through the optic nerves into the visual center in the cortex. It's going on. There is no time there. Eye is one organ in the body. Do not take any time. Do you know that? Have you ever heard about it?
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Like when you open your eye, it does not take a few seconds to process your image. That means only after a few seconds you can see.
Yeah, right.
It's instant. Like when at the time when you put on the switch, the light burns, right? It doesn't take few seconds.
Right.
Same thing is happening there. So enormous energy is spent with respect to each and every sensory organ in the body. Eye is the highest. The next highest energy spent is speaking, talking. The more and more you talk, the more and more you are drained.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So the more and more you see, the more and more you spend energy there. So the energy has to be created inside. This is what is quantum biology. How the energy created in many forms, and then practically how the chemical communication goes on inside by this energy helping the chemical communication to go on. So spiritualism and the eye is not allowed to work. It's shut down.
Okay. To conserve energy.
Yes, because I don't need to see.
Right.
If you want to really understand what is spiritualism, is to go beyond likes and dislikes. There's a space between the like and the dislike to stay there. So when there is no like and dislike, you don't need to see anything.
Right.
You don't need to speak. You don't want to hear anything. You don't want to see anything. What do you want to see?
Right.
That's why the people who are in deep tapas, the eye is shut down. Eyes got no role to play.
Eyes got no role. The senses, in fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is no need of any energy creation inside. because there is no function there, no. See, unless you want to put on all the electrification gadgets at home, you need electricity to support all of them. When you don't have any electrical apparatus, including light, fans, and anything inside the house, you don't need electricity. What do you want? What do you want to do with the electricity? There's nothing there. You don't have a switch to put on a fan or put on a. There's no light there. There's no fan. There's nothing there. There's no wiring there. There's no switchboard there. Then why do you need electricity? You don't need.
Right.
The same thing. What happens when you are really in the spiritual world? You are going to stay within yourself by going deeper inside to realize your soul. Once you realize your soul, then all the other external activities are not required. When you are away from the likes and dislikes, then there is no need for a visual system to work. So it's shut down. It's all over. If you want to really understand the deep sense of it. Like you are as good as a plant kingdom. What is a plant kingdom? A seed comes and germinates in a soil, and it sprouts and come out of earth and grows into a big tree and stationary there forever for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Right.
Keep on doing their metabolism. They don't move.
They don't move.
Yeah. So it's something like that. You are stationary in a place where all your sensory organs are shut down. So there is no role of eye there.
Okay.
The external eye of one pair of eye is called the unakan, the bodily organ.
Right.
There is a spiritual eye inside. That is Jnanakan. Once you open that, you don't need this eye.
Okay.
Because the outer and the inner are the same. The inner and the outer are the same. So you will see everything without opening up your eye.
Without opening your eye.
Yeah. Over to you.
That's interesting, sir. Never thought of eyes in terms of energy dissipating an organ. I always thought of it as energy gaining. It's quite different. So now, even in psychology, the eyes have a huge significance. As you say, you can see a person's emotions through their eyes. And so, why, or rather, not why, but how is it that you can understand by looking at the eye? Why is the eye so significant in expressing emotion rather than any other organ of the body?
It's not that your behavior counts, If you are going to speak in incoherent manner, then I find you very weird, right?
Okay.
Forget the eye now. If suppose you become manic and you start damaging everything, I'm not going to look at your eye, I'm going to look at your action.
Right.
If I'm going to abuse you for nothing, I'm going to look at your behavior, not your eye. If you're not going to speak at all, if I come to you and I'm going to keep on talking to you, you're not going to answer anything, you're not going to speak back to me, I'm not going to look into your eye. I'm going to look at your response. Understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
But whereas when it comes to the question of psychology, there's something called physiological psychology. They study the visual system, the normal vision 6x6. What is 6x6? Snellen chart. What you go to the ophthalmologist, ask you to read some letters of various sizes from a distance.
Yeah.
That one. Then they check the field of vision 180 degrees. All this has come from physiological psychology, more than ophthalmology.
Okay.
Then they talk about depth perception. You know what is depth perception? The cricket commentators use those words today. Depth perception. When you go for a rash shot and it takes a nick and it flies very high in the sky, In speed in which it's coming down, the fielder has to take the catch. He has to be really perfect in judging.
Judging where it will fall.
Yeah. How fast it is coming, where exactly it's landing.
Right.
All those hand-leg coordination, eye-leg coordination. The eye-leg coordination comes in football. The high-hand coordination comes in tennis. Most of the games.
Most of the games.
Yeah. Depth perception, for which you have test apparatus in practicals in psychology. It's a very beautiful practical. I don't have time to explain that to you now. So all those kind of things. These are all respected to your night vision. Yeah. Human beings had very good night vision before the electricity could come. They are as good as cat eye or a tiger eye in the nights.
Okay.
That's because they used to get up 3:34 in the morning, all of them. As the dawn rises, they are getting up in the dark. As the sun rises, the retina get used to the rising of the intensity of the light. Sun doesn't come bright immediately.
Right.
And then when the sun diminishes, they slowly get used to the diminishing light to dark. And they never had any artificial powerful lights which can make the night into day today. Your buildings, your houses, your auditoriums, your sports arenas, indoor, all those kind of things. Your hotels, everything as good as day in the night today because of so many lights.
True, sir.
So your eyes become weak now. Your rod cells have become weak now. Before that, when they had no electricity and no lights, they were having very powerful night vision, and that's gone in the last 200-300 years. This is what you need to know. Okay, over to you.
So, okay, I'll take it to the deities. A lot of deities or saints, we have their eyes displayed. People have their eyes displayed, and they pray to those eyes. So, why is it that only the eyes of the deity is so important?
See, eye is basically, an apparatus or a human organ which is very basically involved in communication. You have to understand this basic first.
Right.
The eye contact is basically the communication. You look into an eye of a person and speak.
You look into the eye of the person, right?
When you don't look into your eye and speak, it's odd. You may not find it comfortable.
It's when you bless a person. I've heard that you have to look into the eyes of the person, or at least you should have seen the eyes of the person to bless a person. Blessing.
Yeah, I understand. See, it is the energy field.
Okay.
Again, I don't need to look into your eye to bless you. If I am very powerful with my energy field, if you come into my energy field itself is more than enough. Even if my eye is closed. Okay? Even if my eye is closed, if you come into my energy field, if suppose my energy field is around 10 feet around me, radius, you come into that arena itself is enough. This is one. Your question is, a person who is looking into your eye and blessing. Right? Out of all the organ, the eye is the one which reflects the power of your soul. Not the other organs. Not your nose, not your ears, not your skin, not your speech. The only organ which reflects the power of the soul is your eye.
What is the significance of the eyes in our ancient Tamil science?
See, Tamil science, the Tamil word for eye is nayanam. Nayana. The Sanskrit word for eye is Netram. Okay? In Sanskrit, if you say the Netra Roham, the eye diseases. In Tamil, it is Nayana Vidhi. In the ancient Tamil, they have identified 96 eye diseases. Nayana Vidhi. 96. Where they have covered everything. And many hundreds and hundreds of years back, they had medicine for everything, including vitreoretinal diseases.
Right.
Today, we don't have. There are no eminent scholars to make those medicines.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Otherwise, all those vitreoretinal diseases which we explained in the last talk of ours can be beautifully managed. Literatures are there. People do not know how to decode them. And most of the eye medicines are the kajals.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. From that only the kajal came for aesthetic appearance of the eye. Okay. And these medicines are made and they are in some kind of a tablet form where you take mother's milk. Where you take mother's milk and then you dissolve this little bit of this tablet powder into that and then put that as a kajal.
Okay.
You know why mother's milk?
No, sir.
There is a component called alpha cyclodextrin and gamma cyclodextrin. They are cluster of glucose. 6 glucose ring forms an alpha cyclodextrin and 8 glucose ring called gamma cyclodextrin. They are the powerful tool to penetrate the molecules of your medicines into your retinal part of the eye. They were so brilliant. That's been studied in the modern science only 10 years back. After 2010. Okay?
Right, sir.
So, the pathology part of ophthalmology in the ancient science was, ancient Tamil science was very clear. They have defined 96 eye diseases. Beyond that, there is nothing there. And they had salvation for everything. Today we don't have, we have lost that science. And most of the traditional science people just turn a blind eye towards the ophthalmic side of Siddha or Ayurvedic medicine. They don't have anything. They literally don't have anything. Because they're very scared. Why are you scared, you know? Eye is one organ you cannot play with. In the human body, the most friendliest organ is heart. So the modern science play around with that. Whatever nonsense you do to the heart, it will get itself repaired by itself.
Right, yeah.
So a lot of surgery goes on. You cannot play around with the eye. Other than PK keratoplasty, you cannot do a damn with the eye. That's it. You are clueless. You have no idea what exactly that quantum biology goes on there. Once the eye is ended and the optical nerve going inside the brain, which goes travel right through the brain to the back part of the cortex, they have no clue in which track the electrical pulses are traveling till today.
Okay.
They have no clue. And in modern science, eye is been, again ophthalmology is one division. In that there are many divisions. Orbitary experts, cornea experts, optometricians, retinal experts. They divided ophthalmology into many divisions. A retinal expert will not be able to do anything to the corneal side of it. So the last part of that, what you need to know is the ancient medical practitioners, they don't touch you also. That is the highest form of diagnosis. They look at your eye.
You look at the eye, right?
And then the white portion gets colored. Your white portion is not pure white. Sometimes bluish,
Right.
greenish, yellowish, whatever. From that, they will find out what is your problem. By just looking a split second of your eye, they will know what you are suffering from. That is one of the highest diagnosis. The next highest diagnosis is looking at your nails. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
There are hours together you can speak on the ancient science with respect to ophthalmology. We don't have time. These are the small basic things that I could tell you.
Thank you, sir.